On the 1st of October, a Twitter user named Gov made a pretty controversial post saying that those Puha Kupla leaks are annoying and are really ruining the fun of it all. Please, if you get annoyed by the leaks of Puha Kupla, just block them so you don't have to be forced to see all the leaks. PS at Puha Kupla, don't you guys have like hobbies or something? Jeez. This sparked a strong response for a lot of players, because a lot of players do enjoy the Puha Kupla leaks and find them very useful in making decisions about what rares or LTDs they want to buy in the future. So who was Gov, and why should you care? Why should you care that some random Twitter user goes off at the fan sites claiming that they're ruining the fun of the whole game by leaking rare and LTD releases? Well, this wouldn't be a good story if it ended at this. But a few days later, a user named OpenBarToilet presented evidence that Gov was in fact a staff, insulting and being rude and toxic to the fan sites. It turned out that Gov was the owner of the Habbo Avatars NFT number 357, which was minted and then sent over to another Ethereum address before the Dutch auction was live. It means that Gov was in the possession of a Habbo Avatars NFT before the public release or the public minting. The only way to obtain one of these Habbo Avatars NFTs before the public mint was to either be affiliated or be working for Assyrian or Sulake. Gov did not want to expose the fact that he was a staff. Instead of admitting to having obtained this from being a staff, he tried to claim that it was second-handed and that he was not a staff. By using the Wayback Machine and going through all of Gov's tweets for the surrounding days before this happened, I was able to obtain 2 wallet addresses that he has commented on Twitter giveaways for NFTs. The first one of these wallet addresses is the address that minted the number 357 Habbo Avatars NFT. The second one is the one that the first address transferred the NFT to. On the transaction on Etherscan, it's pretty obvious that he minted this and transferred it before the public release, which was at the 29th of September, and just a few days before denying his staff or have any affiliation with Sulake or Assyrian. He responded to a user on Twitter who was wondering how much he paid for one of the Habbo avatars before the public mint, where he responded with a quote that said, "Some will also be distributed internally within the company." So on one hand, he wanted to boast about being a Habbo staff and that he obtained the Habbo Avatars NFT prior to the public mint, but on the other hand, when he was criticizing and insulting the Habbo fan sites, he suddenly didn't want to be known to be a staff. So at the point where it was obvious that he was in fact a staff, instead of admitting it, he made up another post, like a last response to OpenBarToilet. And just to make it a little bit more clear, OpenBarToilet means public toilet in Dutch. Gov tweeted, "The reason I don't follow many Dutch people is that they always think they know it better. Like go on OpenSea, it is second-handed, peace out. And yes, I do block people who annoy the shit out of me with their I know it all attitude." This is the most unprofessional display from a staff I've seen from Sulake ever. He is generalizing, belittling, insulting people all around Twitter who are in the Habbo community for no reason at all. And at the same time tries very hard to hide the fact that he's affiliated with Assyrian and Sulake and is actually working for Sulake. He must have realized that this made him look really bad, because not long after, he deleted his whole Twitter account, and the only way I was able to find all these logs was using the Wayback Machine, which takes snapshots of internet history. A few days later, OpenBarToilet exposed Gov for being a staff who makes insulting remarks about the communities surrounding Habbo. The proof was that Gov was a Sulake staff in the Habbo Avatars Discord, which is run by Sulake. This doesn't only look bad for Gov, this looks bad on all of Sulake. As a representative of Sulake, it makes me as a consumer not trust them when I see them go around, hide the fact they're staff, and be insulting, disrespectful, generalizing, and saying some really inappropriate things to other people who are consuming their product. This is not the first time that Sulake has gone against their communities, gone against their player base, and really show that they truly have a very small connection with the player base. They seem very disconnected from the players and what the players want. It's not even a year since Sulake was going to implement major changes to the game, where they said that there would be no more trading between players. There would be a tax so huge on the marketplace that you would not be able to make any profits. Anything to kill trading in Habbo. Anything to make sure that the only way players could gain coins would be by purchasing them off Sulake. It took almost 2 months before Sulake changed their mind after probably thousands of players left the game. There were petitions against this change with hundreds, maybe thousands of signatures on them. Players had to do everything they could in their power to show that they were against this change. And barely when almost half of the player base was gone, that's when Sulake decided that they had to listen to their players. A lot of the players who are currently playing Habbo have been there for a long time. I don't think there's that many new players coming to Habbo, honestly. Maybe some returning who are there for nostalgia, but not a lot are staying. So I think Sulake has to tread very lightly and cherish their current player base, because the current player base has dealt with so much bullshit from Sulake that it's a wonder that we're still here. When you're on top of all of this, have staff who secretly are in the Habbo community trying to hide the fact that they're actually staff, and then go against players, go against fan sites, and try to insult people and be rude and toxic. I think that things like this is something that Sulake cannot afford, because I think a lot of players are currently on the last straw with Sulake. If something major happens again, we might see a lot of players leaving again. So I think to avoid that is very important that Sulake seems serious, that they show progress, and that they show that they're with the players and not against them. I do in a way hope that Sulake will address this, but at the same time I don't think it's likely to happen. I'm not attempting to ruin anything for Gus, and I wish him all the best. But at the same time, I think it's important that we highlight these issues we have with staff and the company behind the game we all love. I appreciate you staying here with me, listening to this story and my 2 cents on this. Please consider to like and subscribe, and see you on the next video.